The big talk, right? Trade talk between Canada, US, and Mexico, USMCA or CUSMA, I guess, depending on where you live, you Canada first or US first. As I joked earlier on, what does Mexico say in Mexico? Will they put an M at the start of that acronym? I'm not so sure, but either way, a lot of conversations going on already here in our country, in the United States. A lot of politicians having conversations about what this free trade agreement will look like. And boy, is it extremely important to us here in our country. I'm definitely not surprised to see that many industries are calling for the President of the United States to strongly back another USMCA. Maybe there'll be some minor changes, but definitely they want to see things going forward. Obviously, in the U.S., the big complaint is that costs are rising. I know the president keeps telling the U.S. people that costs aren't rising, costs are coming down. Well, maybe that's true for oil prices or energy prices, or I should say gasoline prices, but pretty much everything else seems to have gone a lot higher in the last few years. He may blame the previous administration, which I'm sure has to take on some of the blame, but things haven't gotten too much better for the United States or the people living in the U.S. We have some headlines to show you from some individuals that we picked up on recently. Canada's Carney says Trump Sheinbaum pledged to work on USMCA, Sheinbaum being the leader of Mexico. Steelworkers tell USTR renegotiate the USMCA. The headline at the bottom, U.S. producers warn Trump's tariffs jeopardize the access to Canada and Mexico. And last but not least, one that kind of scares a lot of us is Trump could leave trade deal next year, top trade officials say. And to me, that is the most important headline out of all those, because as our next chart shows, if the United States were to leave the USMCA or CUSMA deal, what would that mean for Canada? Let's put up our next chart, which shows U.S. imports from Canada by tariff provision. So very important here. The dark part of each bar is the part that is free from tariffs, free from duties. And you can see how big that is. The yellow, general provisions, historically likely largely duty-free. So even the yellow is duty-free. And you only see that little light blue, which has the tariffs applied to it. And that's why Prime Minister Carney has said that Canada has been the best with respect to tariffs being applied to our goods. We've had the least amount of tariffs as a percentage of our goods that we send to the United States. We're tariffed the least out of any major country around the world. And that's because of our free trade agreement. But if that free trade agreement goes away, what will that mean for many of the products, as you can see, that we send down to the U.S.? Will that dark blue part of the bar chart be cut in half, maybe cut by 2/3, or removed altogether? Will they tariff everything going into the United States? I hope not. Obviously, I would be surprised if we saw something of that magnitude. But I can tell you that many states, many people in the United States do not want to see that happen and want to see an extension of the free trade agreement between the three countries. So we're going to have to keep our eyes and ears on the negotiations that are already taking place. And I think as we get closer and closer to the spring, it will garner more and more of the headlines. Don't be surprised to hear that the president is walking away at some point. That seems to be what he does. He likes to put the pressure on before he negotiates. So let's see what happens with the negotiation between Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. Hopefully, we can get an agreement, and hopefully we can get agreement soon.